Welcome back to the Spotlight here on the sports section of WUSB 90.1 FM. Zach Wilson and Ken Fermin, joined today by former Stony Brook women's lacrosse player Kylie Ohlmiller, who just finished up the summer season in the first official season of Athletes Unlimited. Kylie, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for having me. Doing really well back here on Long Island, so excited to be home.
It was an incredible 5 weeks of action down in Maryland for Athletes Unlimited, the inaugural season. Could you really take us through that, the preparation for that? As you said, living there essentially for a month plus, doing a lot of training there, playing all 30 games there, etc.
Yeah, I think going into it, a lot of us are friends, a lot of us are teammates, a lot of us are competitors. So we were kind of chatting going into it. This was like a year and a half, kind of like planned into it, right? We didn't have a season because of COVID. So we had a long time to kind of talk about and kind of anticipate and train and all those things. So going into it, we really didn't know too much of what to expect of how it was going to be. Like you said, living there for, I think it was like 34 nights. Like we checked into the hotel and they were like, you're here for 34 nights. And we were like, oh my gosh, that's a long time. But yeah, it was different. It was unlike anything that a lot of us had ever done before, living in one spot, living in a hotel, a lot of us having dogs, or some of the players, having kids, just kind of like adjusting to life that way. And then, getting back out on the fields for the first time in a long time, maybe like 2 years, some of us longer. And, training every single day. We have our own workouts that we were doing, but we each had practice every morning. We had 3 games a weekend, which was, definitely more physical, more tough on our bodies than we'd been used to over the last couple of years. So just kind of adjusting each and every day, but a lot of the fun and a lot of the activities that they had us doing, and just the moments of being able to work together with new players and meet new people was what made it all really, really fun.
No, agreed. And the bubble also isn't new with lacrosse during the pandemic. We saw last year Major League Lacrosse had a week-long schedule in a bubble. PLL did it last year as well for a couple weeks down in Utah. But as you said, for a lot of you girls, you really hadn't played in about a year plus in organized lacrosse. So did you feel living in that environment, being around that environment, that bubble, and with, again, players, teammates who you have good chemistry with, really contributed to the success that a lot of you women had in the season?
Yeah, I think it was definitely like a very unique experience. It was definitely coming off of, like you said, like it had been a long time because of COVID. We didn't have a professional season in 2020, and our professional seasons are only a couple weeks out of the summer. So, to go almost, I think it was 18 months to 2 years, somewhere between there. It was like 22 months or something, that we hadn't had a formal lacrosse game or lacrosse practice. I think it was a lot of training on our own. We're all in different cities, and even with COVID protocols over the last year and everything, it was very difficult to get the reps that we needed to. But I think everybody did an incredible job at making themselves ready and keeping themselves ready to go, because when we showed up for the first scrimmage of the Athletes Unlimited season, everybody was sharp, in shape, ready to go. And we just got, the first couple like drop passes out of the way. And then, as you saw, it was some pretty incredible lacrosse. But to your point, yeah, I know the PLL did a bubble last year, and this year was for Athletes Unlimited. It was supposed to be a bubble in the sense of the word, meaning, kind of very locked down because of COVID protocols, but it really wasn't. We got lucky that it was we had a little bit more freedom. So we did, all 58 of us players, all of the staff members, we all lived in the same hotel, Homewood Suites. And some of us had our dogs again, some of us had our kids, and it was a really unique experience. But we also had the freedom to go out and get dinner, or go see our family if they came down for the weekend to watch the games, or go explore the city of DC. I got the chance to go to a Nationals game and all that good stuff. So in a sense of like the COVID lockdown and a bubble sense, we really had a little bit of freedom, which we were very lucky to be able to have that.
Yeah, that Nationals game, I saw a few weeks ago that you were there, and apparently you were throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. What was that like?
Yes. I actually didn't know that I was doing that until the night before. So very nerve-wracking, but it was incredible. I mean, as a sports fan, as somebody who watches sports and always has, with my dad, with my parents, with my family, you always talk about those moments and have it feeling special enough and feeling honored enough to be able to go out there on such an incredible stage and be able to throw the first pitch at a nationals game. That was just one of the many things that Athletes Unlimited did to really promote our sport and put us out there in new spaces and in spaces that hadn't really seen a professional lacrosse player or on the women's side doing things like that yet. So yeah, just very, very grateful for that. And just also grateful that I made the pitch to the plate.
Going back to Athletes Unlimited in the first season, the few weekends that the season was taking place, you were the leader of a team that you were able to coach, it would seem, in some way. Of course, there was Team Ohlmiller for most of the few weekends, and apparently you had some teammates that you were quite familiar with, including your former teammate in Allie Kennedy. After years of playing for Stony Brook and the last few years working professionally and as a leader of some sorts, what was it like amongst those elite lacrosse players to be a team leader in that sense?
Yeah, it was again another unique experience, something that brought on a lot of nerves, but also a lot of excitement. I think getting back into that leadership role is something that I didn't realize that I missed so much over the last couple of years of having no games and things. So having the opportunity to be able to draft my own team a couple times this season and then, like you said, kind of just lead them through the week in a sense, was a really incredible experience. But it was also, like you said, there's a ton of incredible players and also coaches, almost everybody there, coaches at some level, whether it's youth, high school, or our head coaches at some of the best D1 programs out there. So there's a lot of experience, there's a lot of expertise, there's a lot of knowledge. So just being able to share ideas and learn from some of the greats in that sense, whether I had the title of captain or not, was just amazing. I think that I grew as a lacrosse player and as a leader and as a coach because of it. So, and again, another really cool aspect of Athletes Unlimited is that. And to your point about playing with Allie again, she's a rock star. I'm super proud of her. It didn't really seem like this was her rookie season as a professional because she was just so professional about it, but she had an incredible rookie season, and just proud to share the field with her whenever I get the chance.
Yeah, it's not every day you could go up against, current head coaches like Kayla Trainer, now head coach of Syracuse women's lacrosse. And you're absolutely right to your point of Allie, because she's one of the few college graduates to be drafted, and as you said, she really shined throughout the season. Both of you finishing amongst the top 15 in MVP points. And I mean, again, just talk about the chemistry of play that you had with players like Allie Kennedy and how you were able to bring that success from Stony Brook over to the pros.
Yeah, it was special. I think, any chance that Allie and I have had to kind of connect on the field post collegiately, it's a really special thing for us because we did, we went through all the ups and downs at Stony Brook and we had all of our high moments and we really pushed each other to be great just amongst all of our other teammates and our coaching staff under Joe Spalina. So to see that all kind of come to fruition at the highest level of our sport, makes us really proud. It's something that we had a lot of conversations about, just being able to say like, hey, we're the only two here from Stony Brook. It's really cool to be able to represent the university, represent the program like that. And let's go out there and crush it together so that we can have some, some special moments that we can look back on, that we can kind of tack on to our special moments that happened, at Kenneth Fieldval Stadium. So yeah, definitely a special thing. And I'm just super proud to have been her captain, to have been her teammate, and to continue to go through this journey of lacrosse professionalism with her.
Yeah, and again, it's not a small feat because this was a very limited roster and very talented roster. You have to be the best of the best in the nation to make it. Just about 60 different women participating over the season, and Allie again was one of the few college graduates to make it. So what was your role in that sense of recruiting some of these women to the league. Were you a recruiter in that sense, or were you someone who was kind of looking on the outside, waiting to see who was going to join the league?
Not necessarily a recruiter, I would say, but I think that anybody who had signed with the league a little bit earlier and when they were looking for, a couple more players to sign in order to round out, 4 teams of
Right.
15. Obviously if we knew of anybody that could potentially play or could potentially want to play, we would put those recommendations in. So I think that was just kind of like a league, overall league kind of like general idea. I think everybody kind of put their heads together and said, hey, what about her? Hey, what about her? But those collegiate players that came right off of their collegiate seasons this year, they absolutely shined, and it was kind of really exciting to see.
Yeah, these were stars that you were very familiar with in a sense. Along with Ali Kennedy, you also had some stars who you knew were really big in college as well. You had Sam Apuzzo, who played at Boston College. You also got Taylor Cummings, who played at Maryland. These are also who were just as big legends as you. So seeing all you band together once again, how do you feel that was able to make things look really interesting and make this inaugural season in Athletes Unlimited quite spectacular?
Yeah, I think, we had a lot of, there was a handful of us who have been through some of the Team USA training weekends together over the past couple of years. Like you said, Taylor Cummings, Sam Apuzzo, Marie McCool, Cookie Carr, Emily Paros, just a lot of players that I've had the opportunity to play with, and compete against at those national team weekends. And, it was really special to be able to go up against them, but in this league, but also be able to have them on my side and really like build that chemistry and build that trust in each other. Because a lot of times at, US training weekends, we really do a lot within a span of only 3 days. And we're, kind of working to get that chemistry and working to get those moments together within a short amount of time together. So having these 5 weeks together and having a lot of opportunities to create that chemistry with these incredible players and people on the fields, is only gonna, do amazing things for us the next time that we hopefully step out on the field together, rocking Team USA, or even next year with Athletes Unlimited.
Yeah, agreed. And when you got players, as you said, Sam Apuzzo, for example, let's just take a minute, talk about her and her incredible season. She played absolutely phenomenal. And it wasn't for Taylor Cummings. She likely would have been the inaugural MVP. And Taylor Cummings, as well, as I said, inaugural MVP, coming in and just dominating on the attack. I mean, how incredible was it playing alongside these athletes who became superstars through the season?
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible to see everybody shine. The league was really fast. It was really physical. A lot of calls that we would probably be used to in the international or college game weren't happening because they wanted,
Right.
they wanted the game to be fast. They wanted it to be really just physical and exciting to watch, and it really, really was. It was exciting to play, and it really showcased a lot of everybody's strengths. And it also showcased how incredible of players all of these people are in the sense of being able to be flexible and try new things, whether that's somebody that usually dodges from up top was taking some dodges from behind, or somebody that was, maybe having an off day on their shooting on Friday night was able to turn it around by Saturday the next day, because we had 3 games a weekend. So it was really cool to see players shine in that sense and be adaptable and be able to kind of pick up their game and leave maybe one bad game in the dust and be able to pick it back up the next day and climb the leaderboard. So it's just kudos to how amazing these players are. Like, we knew that they were amazing based on their college careers, but to see them do it in this kind of sense and at the professional level, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and even with the fast tempo offense, it didn't necessarily translate into high score in every game. It's not like every game was 19-18, like we see a lot of it in PLL this season, which I'm not complaining about. Your first game, the inaugural game of the season, your team won 11-3. So defense was able to keep up, I thought, for the most part, at least more in the beginning of the season than towards the end. But they still showed that, they're no joke, when it comes to playing defense and preventing the fast tempo offense from dominating the entirety of the game.
Yeah, the play was really, really fast, really physical, and defense. The two rules that were a little bit different that we weren't used to is there's no 3 seconds call and there was no shooting space call. So for defenses, sorry, that's my dog in the background. For defenses, it was a little bit strategy wise, they were able to kind of sink into the 8-meter arc a little bit more. So if you're listening and you know lacrosse, that would kind of provide a little bit more space along the outside for outside shots for offensive players. That's why you saw a lot of 2-point goals, which is something new as well to the professional game that isn't in the collegiate game. But yeah, to your point, I mean, like anytime you entered that 8-meter anyway, then you had 6 defenders in there ready to kind of crush you. So it was a really cool game because it really forced, at least me personally, it really forced me to up my game to the next level, and be really particular about, when I was driving, when I was feeding, what my finishes looked like and everything like that. So it was really fun.
And you were talking about too about the changes, kind of the rules there. But honestly, I think the meat of the changes just comes down to how the game was played. You played four quarters, 8 minutes a quarter, 10v10 gameplay, 60 seconds on the shot clock, and the field was 90 yard by 60 yard, as opposed to the 120-65 we see at Laval Stadium and the rest of the NCAA. How do you feel about those changes coming in and throughout the season?
Definitely took a little bit of adjusting to, maybe just like the first 2 or 3 games, the first weekend, just kind of like getting used to the rules and getting used to the physicality, getting used to the size of the fields. The restraining line was at the midfield line rather than, at the opposite 30-yard line. So just getting used to things like that. And, also just being a captain, the captain and the facilitator were the only 2 people on the field that could call timeouts, only 2 people on the field that could challenge a play. So also being a captain in some of those roles and then being able and then having to also adjust to the new rules, just kind of paying attention to those little details was important. And, once you kind of got it down, it was once you got everything down, it was week 5 and now we're home. So it was a cool learning experience, but definitely I loved the rules. I think the fast play really showcased the talent. I think the physical play really showcased how incredibly strong and badass, professional women's lacrosse players are. So I'm excited for 2022.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much the same as it was. The rules are going to probably be the same as the ones that are also being adjusted for college next upcoming season. We saw that Stony Brook women's lacrosse is getting their new ranks in. And the last time we talked with you, it was right after the Stony Brook women's lacrosse team won round 2 against Rutgers 20-8. The team went down to North Carolina for an exciting quarterfinal game. Stony Brook started off strong and fought hard to the very end, but I remember that you were there too, and really seeing just how tough it was for Kylie Ohlmiller and Allie Kennedy to work their way against the Tar Heels. Tough defense in what turned out to be their final collegiate game ever. Despite the loss, how exciting was it to see Stony Brook once again size up against one of the best teams in college lacrosse ever?
Yeah, it was incredible. I'm always super proud to be a part of that program and to be able to, whether I'm on the sidelines, I'm up in the broadcast booth, or I'm in the stands with my parents and cheering on my sister. I'm just proud to have represented that program and continue to. So, it was really exciting to see them at that level. I thought they had that game. I know that they're, absolutely going to take the next steps to get into that Final Four and making history for Stony Brook. It's coming in 2022. And I'm excited for that program. And I'm just, really proud to say that, I got to represent that jersey and I get to do it moving forward as well. Because it's a really, really special team. It's a really special culture, and what Joe Spalina and his staff has built, and, just the teams before the ones that are there now, is just incredibly special. And I couldn't say, many more positive things than I already have about them, because I'm just so grateful for my 4 years there.
Just going back to the Athletes Unlimited again. As you said, the season 2 is coming back. We're excited. We know you're excited. But in looking at this, comparing to your prior professional experience, the Women's Pro Lacrosse League, what do you think was the difference maker that really made this Athletes Unlimited kind of grow and get that second season that we didn't really see the WPL have last season?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, what the two co-founders of Athletes Unlimited, John and Jonathan, they did for us was they really put a lot in our hands. And they, in the player executive committee, a lot of what we wanted to see from professional lacrosse, what we wanted to play for, what we wanted to be able to showcase to the world. A lot of those conversations, they were all ears and they made happen. And we're just so grateful for that. And I think that, obviously everything really comes down to money as well. So putting the money behind it to make sure that we were on CBS and Fox Sports and get us those broadcasting deals and have sponsors like Gatorade and all these different things that really make it a professional league. I think that was the difference is hopefully the sustainability behind Athletes Unlimited, because they did an incredible job with year one and just putting the money and putting the support behind our dreams and our hopes for what we wanted professional lacrosse to look like. And I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
Well,
I have to agree, especially seeing how they're doing it with softball and volleyball as well. It has definitely been one of the more brighter organizations, leagues, as to call it, that really came out of this post-pandemic world. We're still in it, but you know what I mean, post-pandemic world we're living in. But again, the league I thought really thrived, again, in spite of all the difficulties and challenges it faced starting up in a really uncertain time. And just being able to succeed in that, I think you and a lot of the other girls previously mentioned, like Taylor Cummings, Sam Kuzo, Kaylee Waters, of course, in goal. I think now they're starting to be treated with that respect that they deserved and earned a long time ago as some of the faces of lacrosse in the women's game. So how does it feel being one of the top representatives in the professional game today?
Well, thank you. First of all, that's very sweet. But I think it's just incredible to be alongside those names. I still look around and some of my friends actually were my friends that I grew up with were texting me throughout the season, like, oh my gosh, we used to idolize Katrina Dowd and now you're her captain and like she's your teammate and she's passing you the ball and like that's insane. So
it was.
It really was. And that's exactly how I feel about a lot of these women, whether they're the same age as me, they're younger than me, they're older than me. They're incredible role models for me. And I'm learning so much from them. And I'm just grateful for the last 5 weeks because I really do think that I came out of it a better player, better person, better leader, better teammate. And it's all because of those people. So just to be able to say that I can kind of be alongside of them in that conversation is an insane honor.
Yeah, and on that topic too, just how did that really, because I think one of the best things that came out of this and just the uniqueness of the league was the rosters were changing every week, obviously with different captains and different draft picks being selected different spots. Everyone got to pretty much play with everyone, on different teams. So what was it like, playing with someone like Allie Kennedy, for example, one week and then being opponents the next?
I think that was the most unique part of the league, to your point. And I think that it was also really exciting because in a sense of like, obviously everybody kind of like by week 4, week 5, everyone knew everybody's tendencies as players anyway. So it was kind of cool to be able to get to your new team and be like, all right, well, I played with her last week. She likes to get to her right. Or I played with her last week and she does this really well. So we need to stop that. So I think it really helped in the sense of like scouting and being able to game plan for the next upcoming weeks. But it was also really cool to see somebody, like Allie go out there and crush it. Even if it was against my team, it was just kind of like, all right, there she goes, AK-30, doing her thing. I'm proud of her anyway, no matter what team it's on.
Yeah, so it was really quite a fun season to watch. And now the fall is here. Since there's not going to be like women's lacrosse for Stony Brook until February eventually, or probably wait till next summer for the next season of Athletes Unlimited, what does your fall plans look like for yourself and probably even for Allie?
So we're waiting to hear who gets invited to the next U.S. national training camp from the player pool that they have listed. The next one would be in October and the following one would be in November. So just kind of training for that, resting up our bodies a little bit for the next couple of weeks because 5 weeks of lacrosse that we just played. It was a little bit tough. So just resting up, taking the rest where we need it, and then being able to hop right back into it and train for those hopeful training weekends coming up in the fall. And then, yeah, kind of just taking it day by day. I'll be doing KO17 lacrosse full time, a lot of traveling, a lot of working on the app and everything like that. And yeah, lacrosse full time all the time and just getting ready to go, staying ready.
No, it's a great app, and you obviously have a lot of, besides of great content on the app, but also camps, as you said. What are some of the upcoming ones you have scheduled, and just how fun is it just interacting with the community, both locally in Long Island, and you going out of your way to travel around the nation, teaching lacrosse to the next generation of women stars?
Yeah, it's honestly, I mean, it's my job, but it's also an honor. I really do love what I do, and being able to be creative with it and really reach a ton of people that I wouldn't be able to your point, travel all over to, because I'm only one person. With the app and with this technology, I'm able to kind of have relationships and teach and mentor girls all over the world through that. And then also to your point, being able to travel. And for me, I get to see new places. I get to meet new faces. I get to, share my experiences with the sport of lacrosse with young girls who also love the game just as much as I do. So, it's really a privilege that I get to do this for a living, and I'm going to try and do it as long as I possibly can. And, some upcoming trips. I have my biggest event yet tomorrow through Friday, actually, at the end of August. It's here on Long Island, but it's our KO17 Elite experience. Really excited about that one. And then this fall, I got some trips to Minnesota, Florida, whole bunch of different spots. So just excited to get on the road, see some new faces, and just continue to spread the love of the game.
And agreed. And before you go, I gotta ask, we saw Athletes Unlimited change sport of lacrosse for the better, just again how unique it was and just how awesome those 5 weeks were. What do you think the future of lacrosse and women's lacrosse in particular is going to look like?
I'm hoping that we just keep building off of what you just saw from the last 5 weeks from Athletes Unlimited. Fast, physical, exciting, creative play on the field with supportive, happy, just like exciting moments off the field as well, and in the huddles, and just women supporting other really strong women. And then just going out there and crushing it and competing against other really strong women too. I think if we can continue to do that, and we can continue to, make the rules as exciting as they come, and showcase some really exciting lacrosse, I think that lacrosse will be in good hands moving forward, and we'll just continue to grow the funds behind it so that these young girls can really dream to be professional lacrosse players and make that their day one, their main job.
We're very eager to see how more professional that women's lacrosse and sport lacrosse can be, and we're just as excited as you to see what happens within the next few years. So, Kylie Ohlmiller, former Stony Brook women's lacrosse player and Athletes Unlimited for the first season, thank you for joining us today, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for having me.